did that wrong. Yeah, okay, I got it right. Hey, everybody, we're live answering your fantasy questions, doing live stream on YouTube and Twitch, giving updates right now. Broncos lead the Raiders 16-13. Packers all over the 49ers 17-7, and the Seahawks, in somewhat of a surprise, are leading the Cardinals 7-3. All right. Michael Roper's here. Thank you, Michael, for joining. I'm just giving updates and seeing if anybody has any fantasy questions. Earlier today, though, Jaden Daniels did pull off a minor miracle, and from a bad first half, they were in overtime, but ended up with over 30 points today. So fantasy owners of Jaden Daniels who played him were probably very happy. A couple of the players that I had talked about, McLaurin had a big reception for 85 yards, I think it was, and had a good week based on that. Nuke is here. Hey, Nuke, how's it going? The fantasy basketball we should do probably over the week. Nuke, he's on YouTube asking questions. Yeah, Nuke, let's do that over. I have a few days off this week, so let's set that all up this week. If I don't set it up tomorrow, hey, footballer Nick. Hey, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Hey, everybody's here. We'll try to set up that fantasy basketball this week. So, all right. Right now, the Broncos in the third with 4:43 left lead the Raiders 16-13. Let me just refresh everything. Wait, okay, yeah. In the third with 10:10 left, the Packers lead the 49ers 17-7. And with 10:51 left in the third, the Seahawks are still beating the Cardinals. This is somewhat of a surprise to me because the Cardinals defense is much better than it was just a few weeks ago, and their offense is pretty good right now. So I expected the Cardinals to even possibly open up a big victory or winning percentage, but they are not doing it. They're losing now by 4, 10:32 left. Over on TikTok, if you have any fantasy questions, let me know. I'm just kind of giving updates. Let me see what I can do. I can get rid of this screen, I think, and then I will go into, let's see, maybe I can get updates on here too. Let's do that. The NFL on ESPN. Scores. Let's see what the scores are, and then I'll try to get that up on the screen for everybody. There we go. So we have the same thing on both screens. Let me go back here. Oh, all right. We don't have a ton of people on right now. All right. Let's see. I will put this in. Just giving updates and scores and answering any fantasy questions. Right now, Broncos still up 16-13, 3:17 in the third. Packers all over the Niners 17-7, 9:19 in the third. And with 9:18 left, Seahawks still over the Cardinals 7-3. I'm just trying to get that up on the screen right now. Let's see. Yeah, we can put this underneath me. I can actually, if anybody has any questions, let me know. Why did this log me off? Anyway, that's really weird. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. All right, and we'll make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to read. There we go. You guys can see the scores there. I'm really surprised by this Cardinals game. I thought Kyler Murray would be having a big game. I thought the defense for the Cardinals was really good. Well, here's the thing about Chuba. They said that they were going to put, and this is a great question, Moon or Sun, or because it's yellow, Banana, I don't know. They were saying that Chuba was going to have some of his carries taken over by Liverpool forever, and you boo us. I don't know why, because this is the wrong kind of football. Let's go. We are live, Nathaniel. They were saying that Chuba was going to get his carries limited because of Jonathan Brooks, but I think Jonathan Brooks only had 2 carries the whole game. So Chuba put up 14 points. He had a good week. It's going to be scary as we keep. I know it's been a while, Nathaniel. I think it's going to be scary for Chuba. How much is Brooks really going to cut into him? I don't know. And that's kind of the scary part of it. I wish they would say that, one of them's number 1 or one of them's going to split the way they do the two-headed monster in Detroit or not. But, because I would hate for the next game for it to be a 50-50 split. Today was like 95-5 between Chuba and Jonathan Brooks. That was pretty much it. Plus, the other thing, too, is the Chiefs were ranked number 3 against the run. So there was a good chance the Chiefs, just so you know, average in the last 4 weeks against running backs. I'll just tell you real quick. The Chiefs give up 11.2 points to running back. So he actually went over that average. So the Chiefs will drop back, or, it depends on what the Chargers and Eagles do, who are behind them. But, he outperformed the Chiefs average. So there was 2 factors, Jonathan Brooks and the Chiefs. All right, let's look at the folks over. It's been a while. Hey, mate, I hope you have a good day. I hope so too. What a holy rifle. What is that all about? So we'll just look at the scores real quick. It's still the same. Nothing's changed. 16-13 Broncos over the Raiders, but we have 3:02 in the third with 8:05 in the third. Packers still beating the Niners 17-7. The Niners, I mean, if you saw that Giants game, I saw only pieces of it, but that second string quarterback didn't do anything. And it looks like these Allen with the 49ers, the second string behind Purdy, isn't doing anything. And look, with 7:25 left in the third, Seattle's still beating the Cardinals 7-3, which is a big surprise to me. Boss, you think Jalen Hurts going over 225 passing yards? Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a pass-heavy game, at least from Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith's out, but Goddard should get some of those catches, I would believe. And A.J. Brown is healthy. So, yeah, I see him going over 225. If Stafford has anything to say about it. Now, the Eagles are very good against passing, against the quarterback. But as we saw today, it doesn't always equate to what we think it does, because the Chiefs averaged 12.2 points. I just read it against running backs, and Chuba Hubbard got 14. So it's not always the same. Puka Nacua, Ladd McConkey this week. Okay, Logan. Ladd is probably out, or we won't know till 90 minutes before game time on Monday. So I would put Puka in because, well, personally, I would. If you want to roll the dice and gamble, you can put Ladd in, but there's a good chance that you put Ladd in, wait for Monday night, and he doesn't play. And then you get a big goose egg, you get a big 0 for that position on your fantasy team. That's why I would put Puka in. But Puka doesn't have a great matchup because the Eagles are, let me double check this, but they're pretty good against wide receivers. Let me just get this all set up. The Eagles are number 1. They give up 8.8 points against wide receivers on average per week, 8.8, which is well below the 13 I'm always trying to get people to. But my fear, Logan, is that you wait and Monday night and 90 minutes before game time, when the latest injury report comes out, that Ladd isn't playing, and then there's nothing you can do. So at least you can get some points with Puka rather than none. I'm in Stop and Shop stocking up for the Eagles game. All right, good. I usually do that, but we have enough snacks here today, so I didn't have to go out to get any snacks. It was kind of nice, but I'm usually loading up on snacks myself. Do you think the Vikings can make a playoff run? I think so. I was a little worried about the Vikings today. I'm moving things around on YouTube because they did go to overtime. I thought the Vikings would sort of run away with it. Not maybe run away with it, but win by 5 or 6 points at least in regulation, but they didn't. I think the Bears offense with the new OC is helping them. The last 2 games they've been much better. I think they've lost both games, but I think the Vikings can. The one worry I have is Sam Darnold. I don't think he's an awe-inspiring kind of quarterback. I don't understand why they use Jefferson so little, but Addison did assert himself this week, which was, kind of the first time with Jefferson in the game. And I'm worried about how little they use Aaron Jones. Actually, let's see what Aaron Jones did today. And Amir Abdallah, I picked him to play better than a couple people today. People were asking, and he's been doing that. He had 18 points today. He had 106 yards rushing against Chicago and 1 touchdown. So he did finally get over the 11-point hump, which he had for 4 weeks in a row. He had 10.5, 10.2, 11, 4.8, and today he had 18.4. So that's good. That's what you want to see. You want to see an offense that, has some sort of balance behind it. The offense that I couldn't figure out today, quite honestly, was the Chiefs. They at one point had more pass plays than they did run plays, but if they knew anything about the Panthers were a lot worse against the run than they are the pass, believe it or not. I just don't know why Hunt didn't at least put up 13 points. Yeah, Addison did very good. Banana or moon or yellow, whatever. Addison did very well. All right, Seahawks now up even more, 13-3 against the Cardinals. I know this is a home game for the Cardinals, but I'm sorry, it's a home game for the Seahawks. I thought the Cardinals offense and their defense would hold Seattle in check, but I was completely and utterly wrong about that. I'm very surprised so far, but it's like anything else. There's 7:03 left in the third. If they get a touchdown, it makes it 13-10, and they're back in the ball game. But I didn't see this 10-point. I didn't see Seattle winning by 10, and there only be a total of 16 points. Halfway through the third. I actually said at one point today that I thought the Cardinals could possibly blow them out because their offense is really good and their defense is really good. But okay, maybe I'm wrong. All right. Don't forget if you're watching or listening, whatever it is, hit that like button on both YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. Also, if you want to subscribe to me and you're on YouTube, please do so. I'll be going live a lot more. I just haven't recently because I don't know. I've been very busy with some other things, and I've just been going live on TikTok a lot. And also follow me on TikTok, subscribe to me on YouTube so you know when I'm live and you can be part of the streams. I guess the one thing about it is, let's see, any change? No change in the scores. The one thing about it is, I haven't posted any real new videos on either channel that I've created. Most of them have been from live streams, which I think the people on YouTube don't really like. And I think the people on TikTok don't mind. They're used to them. But I want to get back to creating some videos. I have some time this week, so hopefully I can get some things going that way because I really do want to create more. All right. We're at the end of the third quarter in Las Vegas. The Broncos lead by 3, 16-13. 4:32 in the third. Packers up 17-7 and 5:53 in the third. Seahawks up by 10 against the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have the ball. It's 13-3. And just so you guys know, earlier today, I'll just go through this kind of rundown. The Vikings beat the Bears in overtime 30-27. I'll go back up. The Chiefs beat the Panthers 30-27. But again, as I said, I thought the Chiefs should have run the ball more. I thought Hunt would have a bigger game because of it, but they didn't. They still passed a lot more than I thought they would. The Lions beat the Colts 24-6. That wasn't a huge surprise. Dolphins beat up on the Patriots 34-15. I kind of figured it would be like that. It was, I think, close for a while. It was 0-0 after the first. The Buccaneers completely demolished Tommy DeVito and the Giants today. I was very surprised by that. 30-7. Although, unfortunately, Mayfield, who I have on 2 of my 3 teams, only had 18.6 points. So I thought he could do a little bit better. It was kind of primed for a good matchup. The Cowboys surprisingly beat the Commanders, and that was a wild game. There were 2 plays on special teams that the Commanders allowed for touchdowns. One was a regular run back. I think it was on a punt, sort of a delayed. The guy fumbled the ball, and then he ended up running it 99 yards for a touchdown. And then on the late game, onside kick, the Cowboys actually took it, and rather than just kneeling down and letting the clock run, he actually ran it for a touchdown. So I guess technically speaking, this game wasn't that far out of reach. It would have been more like 27-26, but the guy ran it back. And the Titans beat the Texans. And I got to tell you, CJ Stroud must really be a little nervous now because he has not been playing well. Mixon did not have a big game. Nico Collins thankfully did. I don't think Tank Dell did much, but really, as I keep saying, or as I just said, rather, Stroud didn't really do much today. Let's see what Stroud did. He had 17.68 points, but in a 10-team league, that's not good enough. In a 12-team league, that's not bad. But let's see what Dell did. Tank Dell. Okay. Oh, some questions. Aiden, do you think Jordan Love can still go for 220 yards passing? Let me look that up in a second. Yeah, Tank Dell had 8.7 points. So he's not necessarily improved. Hey, Dylan. 8.7 points Tank Dell got today. Let's see, where is Jordan Love right now? I'll go back to the scores here, see if anything changed. Oh, Packers lead now 24-7. I can't say that that's so much of a surprise, though, because of the second string quarterback starting. But we're looking for Jordan Love. What's he doing right now? So let me look that up. And I got to tell you, I'm really confused because I use Yahoo for some things, and I keep getting these female underwear ads. I must have looked at the wrong site, or the algorithm is off, but it's like, I no, I don't need those. He has 93 yards passing right now, and you want him to go over 220, and he's not going to do it. They're going to start running the ball to eat the clock. So he's not going to get that. All right. You drafted Hurts first round, Dylan. Oh, so you guys know each other. Okay. No, got him 5th. All right. Well, those guys are just talking to each other. Tell me how CMC, Mixon, and Jettis combined to give me 20 points. Dude, I'm telling you, Addison played like Jefferson. Mixon and that whole offense by Houston was pathetic. I mean, it made me mad. I have him on one of my teams, and CMC can't get anything straight because the quarterback can't establish the offense today. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, while Minnesota won and it was overtime, it did not help Jefferson whatsoever. I thought maybe the overtime could help him a little bit. He might be a big play kind of person. Didn't help him at all. And Addison got all the looks by Darnold, but Darnold has had a pretty good season. I'm not going to knock him or anything like that, but I wouldn't say he's an upper echelon quarterback. So I don't always love the decision he makes or anything like that. I mean, if you have those 3 guys on your team, you got to figure every week you're going to win. I mean, seriously, I would. Well, I mean, the game with San Francisco now, they might have CMC run a lot more. Well, no, they're going to pass because they're down. But they might throw to him out of the backfield a little bit more. So that might help you. You might score a touchdown here, so you could get a few more points. Let's see. Is this bad luck? I draft Hurts, Tyreek, Evans, Pacheco, Mixon, Ramondre, McConkey, and Dottle. I'm 5-7. Yeah, well, You got Hurts hasn't really done that bad. Okay, number one, Tyreek is having, the first part of the season. Uh, Tyreek has just not put up any points, so that's really hurt him. Okay, really hurt him. Evans got hurt. Obviously, Pacheco got hurt. Mixon was doing well up until today. Ramondre really only seems to put up good points when he scores at least one or two touchdowns. And McConkey's not bad. He's a little inconsistent. The problem with McConkey, has been the inconsistency from my vantage point. But if he plays, he should have a good game against Baltimore. There'll be a lot of throwing in that game. And I think Dottle did okay today, though, right? See any scores change. Broncos up now 19-13 against the Raiders. Packers still up 24-7. And the Seahawks with 3:22 in the third still lead the Cardinals 13-3. But let me see. Dottle, how did he do today? I think I heard his name. He had I want to say it was 80 or 90 yards when the announcers were talking about him. So he had 9.3 points today. So okay, not no, yeah, he had 9.3 points. So he did okay. He didn't do great. 9.3 probably in 14 team league, 16 team league isn't bad, but in a 10 team league, 9.3 is maybe average at best. So yeah, this season has been really weird. Would you trade Chase Brown for Kamara straight up? Well, it really comes down to what their matchups are the rest of the season at this point. If you're going for a straight up trade, because obviously they play the same position, so it's just a matter of who they go up against. So let me look at that real quick. So Alvin Kamara, the Rams, the Giants, Washington, Green Bay, Las Vegas. The Rams, the Giants. The Rams are number 2 against running backs, as of right now anyway. The Giants are 26. Cincinnati, Carolina. The Bengals are 10. The Panthers are 29. Tampa Bay and Philly. Philly's good against the run. They're 5. And Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers are 23. So it's not impossible for Dottle or Kamara. It's Kamara. No, why am I looking at Rico Dottle? What? Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. Kamara goes up against the Rams, the Giants, and Washington. Rams are 2. Giants. Washington is 31. The Giants are 26. So that's good for Kamara. Green Bay and Vegas. Green Bay is 22. Vegas against the run is 17. So Kamara has a pretty favorable schedule. Let's look up Chase Brown. Oh, it's going to do that thing, isn't it? Let me just look up Chase Brown real quick. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit follow so you know when I'm on. I'm going to go live tomorrow before kickoff. I'm just kind of trying to give people updates to the scores, although not much has changed. Broncos up 19-13, 12:05 in the fourth. 24-10, Packers over the Niners so far, 2:12 in the third, and with 3:22 in the third, Seahawks up 13-3. Okay, Chase Brown. Okay, goes up against Pittsburgh, Dallas, Tennessee. Pittsburgh's 28 against the run. Tennessee, the Titans against the run are 24. Dallas, that's what I want. Stars 30. Wow. Tennessee, Cleveland, and Denver. Cleveland is 12. Denver is 15. I would actually say that Chase Brown has the better schedule for the rest of the season. So if you're thinking about that trade, you might want to keep Chase Brown because he has a more favorable schedule than Kamara, Pambos. So yeah, you might want to keep Chase Brown based on the schedule. The question was, would you trade Chase Brown for Kamara straight up? And I wanted to look at who they were playing for the rest of the year. And Chase Brown has a much more favorable schedule. Kamara goes up against, what, 2 or 3 top 10 teams, top 12 teams maybe, and Chase Brown goes up against one. So, but you can take that for whatever you want. I mean, if you like a guy, you like a guy. If yep. All right. So you're going to keep him. Good. Good. Yeah, and I think Chase Brown is coming into his own. He had some tough weeks. Chubb did too, Nick Chubb, and when he plays easier teams, he puts up good points, and I think he'll do that this time around too. All right, how many people we have? Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that follow button. We're up. We have 1,100 likes here on TikTok. If you want to follow, I'm going to go live on TikTok tomorrow before kickoff. I'll be live on YouTube. I'm going to try to continue to do that, although sometimes since I have to be on 2 computers when I do this, it's a little overwhelming, but because I don't have a producer or anything like that, I have to do this all by myself. So not complaining, not complaining, just saying that I know that sometimes when it gets busy, then what I do is I forget to check out on YouTube. If anybody has a question, then they all hate me that I haven't done anything. Okay, let's see. Has anything updated here? No. Wow. Yep, nothing's updated. Okay, with 8 seconds left in the third, the Seahawks still up 13-3 against the Cardinals. 2:12 in the third, Packers up 24-10. Seems like that's slowed down. I don't know if there was an injury or not because I'm not watching the game at all. I'm just looking at the ESPN numbers. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want accidentally hit the sound on. I don't want any copyright issues or anything like that or get a strike against my channel. I would hate that. Broncos still lead the Raiders 19-13. I think the Broncos have only scored 1 touchdown today. I'm pretty sure 1 touchdown and the rest are field goals. So that's like what, four field goals, something like that. Yeah. So if you have their kicker, not a bad time to get it. All right. I thought you had AirPods. I do have AirPods, but when I'm on both channels, Nathaniel, I have to use the speaker for my Macintosh laptop, and I have to use these with the cords for my Microsoft Windows computer. That's an Acer, and that's the only thing you can only run laptop. You can only run a laptop on TikTok if it is Windows compliant or uses Windows. So that it kind of stinks. I'm a Panthers fan, and we almost beat the Chiefs. Yeah, you know what? The Chiefs. I'm not saying I'm not knocking you guys, Oscar, at all, but the Chiefs are trying to give it to you. Their play calling made no sense. It's harder to pass against the Panthers than it is to run against them. And they barely ran against them. At one point, and I didn't check up on this later, but at one point they had 15 passing plays and 10 running plays. And I'm thinking, why isn't it the other way around? For Kareem Hunt to end with like 10 or 11 points made absolutely zero sense to me. Now I know they had Perrine in and they had Carson. Oh, I just forget his last Carson. It's not Carson Wentz, obviously, although I think he's their backup quarterback. But who is it? It's Carson Steele. That's the name. And they just weren't running the ball. I thought if they ran the ball a little bit more, they might have had a much bigger lead. They were just. It was almost like they were trying to keep it close. It was mind-boggling. Right, Tadola has a great trade request. If you're still around, Tadola, I like it. I know that when I'm on 2 computers, sometimes I get caught up in the moment. I see a lot of people have joined, but then I don't see where they leave. But Lamb in London for Jefferson. If you can trade Lamb in London and get Jefferson, I would do it in a heartbeat. Although Jefferson was dog doo-doo today, but usually Jefferson puts up at least 13 points. London has been inconsistent with the coming of Mooney, and I bet you Lamb did well today though. Cooper Rush doesn't look like the worst backup in the world. I'll tell you that. What did CD do today, points wise? Yeah, 11.8. So that's not too bad. It's average, but it's high average. My little formula is 13 points for a 10-team league. You want 13 points by your wide receiver, running back, and flex position, and then you want 19 or over from your quarterback. You want 10 or over from your defense or kicker, and you want 7 from your tight end or from your tight end or more. You want 7 or more points. Okay, let's see. We have had a subtle score change here. Wait, what's going on? It just said something. Yes, it's 19-16. The Broncos over the Raiders. There's just under 9 minutes left, 8:59 in the fourth. In the third, with 54 seconds left, the Packers are beating the 49ers 24-10. And at the end of 3, the Seahawks still lead the Cardinals 13-3. So all this talk that I had that you could pass against the Seahawks and that Harrison should have a good game and Murray should have a good game, it's not going to happen unless they really turn it around in the fourth, which that game can't be fun to watch. I mean, maybe if you're a Seahawks fan, you like it, but just in general, it's been 13-3. Well, okay. The Seahawks did score 6 in the third, but that's it. First quarter, nobody scored. Second quarter, Seahawks scored 7. Cardinals scored 3. Third quarter, Seahawks scored 6. So it has been, it's a pitcher's duel in some ways, if you think about it, baseball terms anyway. So let me see. We have new messages. Any questions here? Who's better rest of season, JT, Bucky, or Chuba? Oh, boy. What did JT do today? Let me see. I know he ran the ball a few times, but I can't imagine he got a lot of points. I don't remember seeing him a lot. Yeah, he had 3.5 points. And they go up against New England, Denver, Tennessee, and the Giants. So he really only has 4 weeks left because he has a bye the 14th. New England, Broncos, the Patriots, Broncos, Titans, and Giants. Patriots are 6. Broncos are 15. Giants are 26. Patriots, Broncos. Oh, the Titans. Titans are 24th. So, I mean, JT doesn't have the hardest schedule. He has to go up against the Patriots, and they're tied for 6th. That's like the best team against the run that he has to go up. So I would probably go JT. And the reason for that is I'm not sure that Bucky and Rachaad White won't be sort of devouring each other every week. Like, this week, obviously Bucky did well, but I don't know if Rachaad White won't do better next week, sort of the way Godwin and Evans were earlier in the year. And Chuba, they keep telling me, although he had a good game today, he had a good game last week, they keep saying that they're going to bring in Brooks, but they only had him run. They only had Brooks on one run or maybe 2 runs today. And Chuba still put up like 14 and a half points. But because of that whole Brooks factor, I would go with JT, Matthew. That would be the only reason, though. All right, let's see. Another question here. Who's better rest this? Oh, yeah, same question. All right, so I have those questions. Anything over on YouTube? Who do you have winning Sunday night game? I have the Eagles. They should on paper. They have a good defense. They have a very good defense that should sort of keep the Rams in place, although the Rams have obviously very good wide receivers, 2 very good wide receivers that might absorb a lot of the passing. And, Stafford, he's not he doesn't win a lot of games with his legs, but he can every once in a while. So, given the way that, I thought Arizona could, that could be a lopsided game in favor of Arizona. I thought the Chiefs game might. Uh, this is probably going to be closer than I think, and that's why they always say you got to play the games. I still think the Eagles win because of Saquon Barkley. If you look at the Rams, Kyren Williams, their big running back, hasn't been putting up big numbers, and they've been sort of holding him back, reserving some of his energy and things. But, we saw that today. There was a running back I just talked about who had a big game, had like 18 points. But so maybe they're holding him back for this game. But I would say the Eagles, although Devontae Smith is not playing, I think Dallas Goedert probably picks up a lot, gets a lot of the targets instead of him. Why was Joe Mixon so bad this week? Well, the reason why is because Stroud couldn't establish the pass. Outside of Nico Collins, nobody else really had any points catching the ball. I think Tank Dell, I looked at him a little bit earlier, and he had about 8 points. So I'll look him up again. He just couldn't get, and I'll look up Stroud. I think he got 17 points, which is decent, but it's not where you need to be to win. Yeah, Stroud had 17.6. He had 247 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, but he had 2 interceptions. That hurts him. If he didn't have the 2 interceptions, he would have gotten to 20 probably easily, or close to it. Rounded up, he would have got to 20. He would have had 19. Let's just put it that way. He had 30. Let's just see. He was 20 for 33, so not that great of a not like Jared Goff, but he was 20 of 33 passing. And rushing, he rushed 3 times for 18 yards. He's not a big rusher. His big game was 59 yards. It's probably not a good thing if he rushes a lot. But 247 yards against Tennessee, probably, Tennessee, let's just see here. The Titans are pretty good against the pass, though. Against wide receivers, they only average about 16.6 points over the last 4 weeks against wide receivers. So that could be a big part of it. But, CJ Stroud if you look at him from week 7 on, 5.3, 12.4, 11.5, 11.78, 11.88, 17.68. And you look at Tank Dell, and today, he had 8.7 points, which, unless you're in like a 14-man or 14-team league or more, that's not going to be good enough for a win ever, really. My dad isn't a Philly fan. He says that the Eagles will lose because they are fat, Philly lazy players, and they are waiting for Thanksgiving. All of that, Nathaniel, sounds like it's totally speculation. And I think, he's obviously not a Philly fan. There's no doubt about that. But being a New Yorker, why would you be a Philly fan? I don't think any are really, especially if you're a Giants fan and you hate the Phillies. So I think that's coming from some other place than reality. All right. We have 1,100 likes on TikTok. I'm not sure how many likes we have on YouTube, but don't forget to hit that like button. If you're watching on TikTok, please hit that like button, and also don't forget to follow. I will be live tomorrow before kickoff, so you'll know when I'm live. But yeah, I just think overall, just getting back to that earlier question, I just think that Houston's in a bad place right now with their offense. Nico Collins is still putting up good numbers though. So it's kind of scratch your head, but it's almost like outside of Nico Collins and Joe Mixon, who did not have a good day, they don't have much of an offensive threat. Tank Dell had one good game when Nico was out. He never really established himself, and I think that really put some of the defense back. We have 6. What does that mean? You have 6. We have 6, and you're crying. Oh, will it be? Yeah, if you mean 6 points, Yeah, I could see where the Eagles win by 6 points or maybe 5.5 like they like to do in Vegas. Have those half points, so there's always a winner, always a loser. But I think tonight's game, I mean, I thought earlier in the day that the Eagles should take a commanding lead in this game because their defense is really good. They have a good offense, that their defense could stymie the Rams. But look at this Arizona game. I mean, it's 11-17 left in the fourth, and it's still 13-3. The Cardinals offense is not doing anything, and you can really, I mean, legitimately, Seattle is not that good against the pass. Seattle going into this game in the last 4 weeks averaged 26.6 points per game for wide receivers, like defensively. So they were allowing the other team 26.6 points to wide receivers. I thought Harrison was going to put up a good game. And this just goes to show you that it's why they say any given Sunday. I thought by now the Cardinals would have at least 2 full touchdowns and maybe an extra point or 2 or 3, or not extra point, a field goal, 1 or 2 or 3 kind of thing. Like it would be 17, it would be 20, it might be 23, 13, something like that. I didn't even think Seattle would be getting 13. The Cardinals do have the ball with 11:01 in the fourth, 13-19 in the fourth. Packers still beating up on the lowly 49ers 24-10. And the Raiders now losing by 10 against the Broncos, 26-16. Let me look at that box score real quick here. Just see, we'll drill down on some of the stats. Bo Nix has passed for 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Gardner Minshew has 164 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Leading rusher is Jaleel McLaughlin for Denver, and Estime has 11 yards rushing. McLaughlin has 44. But here's another thing. The Raiders are easier to run on than they are to pass on, but you wouldn't know it. Courtland Sutton has 2 touchdowns and 97 yards. I said earlier today that I thought Sutton would have a good game, and I know that I got some pushback, and rightfully so, because the last time that Sutton faced the Raiders, I think he got 4 or 5 points, depending upon what league you're in. I think on my league or my scoring, it was 4.2. Other people's scoring, it was 5.2, but he's got 12 points and touchdowns alone. So he's probably up around 20. Let's look up Sutton real quick. He might be over 20. I should know this a little bit better, but Courtland Sutton has 25.7 points today. So yeah, he's good to go. Now, Jacoby Myers for the Raiders has 59 yards receiving. He leads the Raiders in that. But Amir Abdullah does have 37 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. I knew that he would have a pretty decent game. But Gardner Minshew's kind of the weak link there. I don't think he's maybe he's not at that stage in his career where he can put up big numbers. I don't know how you want to look at it, but he does struggle. The Raiders have the balls 26-16. And Sincere McCormick is leading the Raiders in rushing with 33 yards. And Vele has 80 yards receiving for the Broncos, which I did say today would be important for the Broncos to win and for Sutton to have a good amount of points. Vele has to catch the ball so that all the pressure just isn't on Sutton like it was the first game. If you notice, after the first game, 6-7 weeks ago, they got Vele into the offense a lot more. He came out of nowhere and started putting up 6 points, 5 points, all that. And so they were slowly bringing him around because they realized that they can't just go Sutton number 1. He needs a number 2 to take that pressure off. Why is Javonte doing so bad? Well, let's see. Denver rushing. He has 7 carries and 0 yards. It looks like the Raiders have his number. It looks like he might not have the speed. I mean, 7 carries for 0 yards means somewhere along the line on 1 or multiple carries, he lost a lot of yards. And so you got to ask yourself about. I knew that Estime was someone to look at, but now Jaleel McLaughlin, who I believe was he third string? Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong team. Las Vegas depth charts. Not Las Vegas, Denver. Good Lord. Sorry about this, guys. Denver. Yeah, I mean, McLaughlin is number 3 on their depth charts as like before the game, but right now he's leading everyone on Denver or on the Broncos with 44 yards rushing, which isn't great considering they're in the fourth quarter and there's 4:28 left in the game. It might be one of those things where Javonte Williams, you know, isn't the guy, doesn't have what it takes to ascend to, the number 1 in real time, meaning in the games. He's had spurts. I mean, last week he had 16 points, but against Las Vegas, and just to let you know, Vegas is tied for 17th against running back defense. They give up 18.8 points, but probably if you look at McLaughlin, Estime, you're probably well, it's only 55 yards rushing right there. What is that? Maybe 5 points. So they're doing a good job against Denver rushing tonight. They really are. It's the passing that's completely on fire. Cortland Sutton has 97 yards receiving. Vele has 80. Mims has 44. Franklin has 31. And then they have a bunch of people with single digits. But 97, 80, 44, 31. That's a solid day for an NFL team. There is absolutely no doubt about it. So, all right, Kyren or Dobbins? Good question, Mr. Breh. The Baltimore Ravens are very tough. They average about 13.4 points against running backs per game. All right. And Philadelphia averages 12.6. All right. So you don't have an easy pick. It's either against the Eagles that average 12.6 points per game to running backs, or the Ravens who average 13.4 points per game. I would say that if I had to pick, I would go with Dobbins only because, well, let me look up Dobbins, but Kyren has somewhat been limited. They've wanted to hold him back a little bit. So his numbers are kind of stuck at 10 and lower over the last few weeks. If you look at him, the last 3 weeks, he's had 10, 8.7, 8.6. Let's look up Dobbins real quick. Dobbins he had 18 last week against Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's not very, I'll double check. Cincinnati's number 10 against the run, so they're not horrible. But he had 18 points. He had 7. He had 23, 14. I would go with Dobbins only because the last 4 weeks he's put up many, 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 many more points than Kyren Williams. And I was a big fan of Kyren Williams earlier in the season, but they have limited his play apparently, and they've said that they want to hold him back and keep him strong throughout the season, which I don't know how well that works anymore. But they're both going up against good teams, but I would go with Dobbins because he's been playing so much better. So now, Nathaniel, you're going into a whole nother place to get dipsy doodles. Man, oh man, what the heart wants, or what the belly wants, I guess. 49ers need to fire Kyle, probably, yeah. Although, Hobbs, you got to remember, he's had a lot of injuries to deal with. Initially CMC, Debo, Jennings, obviously Ayuk. So there's a lot of injuries. And now he has Purdy. That team is not steady. The defense probably, though, he should look after a little bit better, no doubt. Same here. I agree. Big fan, but he does seem limited. Dobbins, it is. Thanks, Mr. Handsome. Oh, well, thank you. If If you're talking about me being Mr. Hanson, there's nothing to agree with. There's no analytics to agree with that message. So Jalen Hurts TD. Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts could run one in or pass one in. I mean, I think he scores a touchdown tonight. They're going to need his legs probably to a certain extent. Not that the Rams have a great offense, but they're going to need it. All right, so the Raiders must have kicked, obviously, another field goal. It's 26-19. Broncos over the Raiders with 3:38 left. Let's just go back to all the scores here on YouTube at least. Yeah, 26-19, Broncos over the Raiders. Packers now opening up their lead 31-10 against the 49ers. And it looks like Jacobs ran another one in for a touchdown. So Jacobs having one heck of a good day. Seahawks and Cardinals, there has been some movement there with 9-12 in the fourth. It is now 13-6 Seahawks. Let me look at the box score of the Niners Packers. That's going to tell one heck of a good story for anybody who is a fan of Josh Jacobs, or maybe, I guess, Green Bay overall. Not a big game for Jordan Love. 123 yards passing, one touchdown. Now, did he run one in? Let me see. Jordan Love. I don't see it, but wow. Josh Jacobs has 106 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. So he has been the obviously he's the difference, but let's just see what Love has done today points wise. He's at 8.92 points. And this goes back to my theory on Love that he's not playing very well. It's not to say that he's not a good quarterback. Now, last week he did have 21 points. The week before he had 11.9. And the week before that he had 6.7. So far in the last 4 weeks, including tonight's game, that doesn't have a lot of time. Well, it's got 11 minutes left, but he has 8.92, 21.24, 11.92, and 6.74. So only 1 week has he gotten over 19 or more points. And in a 10-team league, you want your quarterback at 19 or more. Easy, you want that. So Brandon Allen for the 49ers, their backup quarterback, has 168 yards passing, 1 TD, and 1 interception. But I don't think anybody expected anything of him like they do Jordan Love. Jordan Love, I mean, this is a monster game by Jacobs. What did I say? Is he the one that I had 25? Or was that a while ago? I mean, Josh Jacobs he has 28 points today. He had 21 points last week. Three games ago, because they had a bye in there, he had 11.8. And then 4 weeks ago, he had 25. So 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's had 20, or 3 of the last 4 games, he's had 20 or more points, which is just incredible. Just incredible for a running back or a wide receiver to have 3 weeks like that in just, 3 games like that in just 4 weeks. All right, but it's 31-10, 10:59 left in the fourth, Green Bay and San Francisco. Let's go back down and check out this Cardinals game. Cardinals Seahawks. Seahawks still up 13-6, 6:38 in the fourth. This game I thought this game would have a lot more scoring than it currently does. I am very surprised by that. Thank you guys for hitting the like. Don't forget on TikTok to hit that follow. I'll be live tomorrow night before kickoff. So you can ask me fantasy questions. Should I play Tua for Hurts next week? Well, let's see who they play first. I don't know why everybody's down on Hurts. I mean, maybe he had a bad last game, but he's been putting up 20, 30 points every game. Tua had a good game, I know. You kind of have to see what, how this week goes. But yeah, Tua's had the last 2 weeks, 23.5, 28.4. He goes up against Green Bay. Now, Green Bay against quarterbacks is tied for 11th. So they're not bad, Green Bay against quarterbacks. They give up an average of, let me tell you, 20 points. So again, if you're in a 10-team league and you get 20 points, my formula is 19 or more points every time. So, they're giving up 20 points. So even if they give up 18, that's relatively close. I always look at that and say it's a 2-point sway. It's either 18 or it's 22, and that's a good range to be in for Hurts. Now let's look up Tua. Tua plays Green Bay. What am I doing? And then Jalen plays the Rams. And the Rams are much worse. They give up 22.9. So they give up almost 3 points more. So you might actually want to see how Philadelphia does against the Rams tonight and make a decision, because Tua's playing, or Jalen. Wait a second, Jalen. I'm getting all confused. Jalen's playing Baltimore next week. Okay, he hasn't played the Rams yet. All right, I must be getting a little tired. So he plays Baltimore. Jalen does. He should have a good game against Baltimore. You can pass against Baltimore. You can pass pretty well. So, and Jalen's probably going to be throwing the ball a lot. But you could go with Tua to be safe. He's had 2 good weeks in a row, but someone like Jalen Hurts could put up 30 against Baltimore, because they're going to be throwing for 4 periods, 4 quarters, and Lamar knows that he has to score a lot of points. The wrinkle in this game with Philadelphia playing Baltimore is Philadelphia is a really good defensive team. So the question comes down to, how much can the defense stymie Baltimore? And maybe it's not so much of a shootout like I believe the Chargers and Baltimore are going to be on Monday night, because both teams have very weak defenses against wide receivers. The Chargers are second to worst. They're tied, and then the Baltimore is tied for last, the worst defense against wide receivers. All right, let's look at so I guess Tua is the safe bet here. To answer your question, Tua is the safe bet. You could see how things go and start Hurts next week, though, if you're thinking about rolling the dice. But I think Philadelphia's defense isn't going to allow it to be a total, total gunslinger show like 35-34. It might be more like 30-21 kind of game, And so for that reason, I probably would go with Tua, because he has had 2 big weeks back to back. But I would see how the games play out. All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, as they say. In the fourth, Broncos lead by 7, 26-19 with 2:21, and the Broncos have the ball. The Packers lead the Niners 31-10. There's 8:38 left, and the Packers have the ball. And with 3:09 left in the fourth, the Cardinals are still down 13-6. Seahawks have 13, and they have the ball. So all the teams that are leading right now, of the 3 games that are going on, all have the ball. So unless, there's a interception or fumble, the scores will either get wider, the difference, or they'll remain exactly the same. But so, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it looks like the Packers will win unless something changes. They're up by 21 points. Obviously, that's 3 touchdowns. So the Niners would have to really get going here, and they haven't been able to through 3.5 quarters. The Cardinals are just down by 7, and the Raiders are just down by 7. So just one time the Seahawks. Oh no, the Seahawks have the ball. They're leading. Never mind. It's the 2-minute warning. Seahawks and Cardinals, exactly 2 minutes. 13-6. Seahawks lead. This is a game that I'm very surprised by. I'm very surprised. I thought the Cardinals were going to win this game. Now, they have limited, obviously, the Seahawks to just 13 points, but they've only scored 6 themselves. That means Kyler Murray has not thrown for a touchdown. That means Marvin Harrison Jr. has not caught a ball for a touchdown. That means James Conner has not scored a touchdown. So those guys are going to have some lower than what they would want fantasy points this week. Somebody asked Eagles versus Rams. I think the Eagles win that game, but earlier in the day, I was thinking the Eagles could run away with the game because their defense is so good. But the way some of these other games are playing out, like the one we're seeing between the Cardinals and Seahawks, I don't know if that will be the case. Now, the one exception, or the one thing that could be coming into play with the Cardinals and Seahawks, is those interdivisional games are weird. And what I mean by that is they know each other so well that oftentimes they play each other tougher than they would someone, who has that same record, or a similar kind of team that they don't see twice a year. So this could be a product of that, the Seahawks familiarity with the Cardinals and vice versa. So the Eagles and Rams, earlier in the day, I'm like, oh, the Eagles could be running away with it by halftime because they have a good defense. They have a good offense. They could be shutting down Puka and Cooper Kupp. I always combine the two. But I do think Stafford will get the ball to one of those guys. I don't think they're going to be completely shut down. Philadelphia is good against the pass, as I said a few times. Let me just make sure. Yeah, Philadelphia is number one. They give up 8.8 points to wide receivers on average over the last 4 weeks. That's 8.8 points, meaning if you split it 50-50, Puka gets 4.4 and Cooper Kupp gets 4.4. And I bet you that those guys get more than 4.4 as long as they don't get injured during that game. Let's jump back to YouTube. Anything else? Let's say you're a parent of a 14-year-old boy and his favorite team is the Eagles. How long are you allowing him to stay up on a school night? Well, you guys are an hour ahead. So the game starts at 8:15. You got to go to bed by like 10:30, dude. That's about it, Nathaniel. I would say 10:30 you go to bed. I know I hate to say it. In St. Louis, it's only 9:30. You still have an hour you could almost watch the whole game by 10:30, but on the East Coast, you can't do it. So there is an advantage to being, CMC sold. Look though, you got to come on now. If Purdy comes back, CMC has value again. This guy Allen is not doing the job. He's not doing the job. He can't pass the ball. He's not running this offense. I keep saying office. My CMC and Juan Jennings for my friends David my CMC for my friends David Montgomery and Davante Adams. Yeah, I mean, CMC, if Purdy comes back, CMC's value goes back because Debo's healthy, Jennings is healthy, CMC's healthy, Pearsall's healthy. I think it's this quarterback, okay? You can't lose hope. Now, the other thing about it is with Purdy, I believe it's a shoulder injury. And shoulder injuries, I mean, that's everything for a quarterback. If you have a shoulder injury, that could be everything. Can we meet in the middle and say 10:45? Okay, 10:45, Nathaniel. You can say up to 10:45. But I know you'll be watching it on your phone in your room or something, or you'll try to. All right. I think, CMC did not have a great day, but I think a lot of that comes down to the offense. A lot of that comes down to the second string quarterback, And Jennings, I had a feeling he wasn't going to. I mean, what did he do today? Did he have any points? I mean, I can't imagine him or Debo had anything really to speak of. Okay, he had 5.7 points, but you didn't have Purdy in there. What this shows you is the importance of Purdy in that offense and running that offense, in my mind. David Montgomery puts up good, solid points. He's very steady. But if CMC can get back to where he was at all, he's going to put up way more points than Montgomery. Now, Davante Adams is very inconsistent. That offense with the Jets, the Jets and the Giants offenses are just disasters right now. And even with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, and I don't want to make fun of older people because, I'm over the age of 40, let's just say. But he looks old and he's hanging in there for probably a big chunk of his ego. And maybe it's time he hangs it up, although everyone says he probably won't retire on this note because it is kind of an ugly note to retire on. But, okay, let's update some stuff here. I can't believe what I'm seeing, but the Broncos are up on the Raiders by 10, 29-19, with 156 left in the fourth. With 4:14 left in the fourth, the Packers have extended their lead, 38-10. So they're up by 28. They're up by 4 touchdowns. So that game's pretty much done. And then, barring some miraculous thing. And then the Seahawks are up by 10. They've gone back to being up by 10, 16-6 against the Cardinals, but there's only 1:30 left in the fourth. And that's the game I'm most surprised about. I'm telling you, I thought the Cardinals would win. If it was 16-6 Cardinals winning, I'd be like, okay, I thought they'd score a little bit more, but hey, I get it. But I am surprised by this. I am very surprised by this. All right, we have some more questions. Let me go look over at YouTube. Any thoughts? I'm down 84 points in fantasy, but I still got Kyren, Saquon, Herbert, and Kyren. You have Kyren twice? Good for you. But he still has Cup. All right. If you meant Kyren, who's the other person you meant? Imran, it's Imran, right? So Kyren has been inconsistent. He's not been putting up over 10 points over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Saquon should probably get you 15 points or more, but probably let's just say a minimum of 14 to 18 points. Herbert should get you well over 20. I'm thinking 25. So let's just try to make the math easy. Kyren gets you 10, let's just say for now. Saquon gets you 15, 25. Herbert gives you 25, that's 50. And then whoever else the second Kyren is has to give you like 30 points or 35 points. I think Kyren getting more than, okay, so let's say Kyren gets 15, although Philadelphia's defense against running backs only gives up 12.6 points. But let's say that Kyren gets 15. He goes over that. Let's say Saquon, the Rams give up. Of course, I can never find these teams. The Rams. Where are the Rams? It's blue and yellow. Oh, wow. The Rams are number 2 against running backs. They give up 10.9. But let's say Saquon gets 15, Kyren gets 15, that's 30. Let's say Herbert gets 30, that's 60. And whoever else this other Kyren is has to put up what? 25? I don't know who that is, though. It's Derrick Henry. Oh, well, Derrick Henry could get 25. The Chargers, though, are pretty good against the run as well. They give up 11.2 points against running backs. So it may be a little bit of a stretch, and it's really going to depend on what kind of night Herbert has, because I'm predicting, because Baltimore is the worst against wide receiver defense, and on the flip side, the Chargers are second worst. Now, they're both tied with other teams, but they're worst and second worst. So Herbert's going to probably be throwing the long ball for 4 quarters, solid. All right. Talk to you later, Nathaniel. Take care, buddy. So we're only down to a few people there on YouTube. So, yeah, let's see, 15, 15, 30. So that's 60. Derrick Henry could get you 25. That's 85, but he has Cup. Cup gets you at least 5 points, probably. Now, the Eagles are number 1 against wide receivers. They give up 8.8 points, and they have Puka and they have Cooper. So let's just say both of them get 7 points. So my guess is you lose by like 7 to 10 points if Kyren puts up 15, if Saquon, and Saquon has a good chance of 15. I'm not sure Kyren does. Herbert has a good chance of 25. I can't pencil in 30. I'll say 25 though, and Henry probably gets 20. just because he's Henry, but he could have 15. So realistically, 15, 15, 30. Let's 15, 15, 25. So 55. And Henry puts up. So you're probably looking at realistically getting 70 points from your guys. But if they do even better, you can get to that 85. But I think you kind of max out around 85, unless someone has like a Jamar Chase day and gets 50 points. That's the only thing that would make it different. So now I have Kyren, Barkley, Henry, and Herbert. Oh, same thing. Okay. And he still has Kupp. Gotcha. All right. Yep, that's the way I look at it. I'm loving Jacoby Myers. Is he having a good game? Let's see. Okay, 17 points, 121 yards. Yeah, no reason not to love him. All right, we're under a minute in a couple games here. The Packers have the ball 38-10 against the Niners. So, wait, what's going on here? Oh, one game win final. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals 16-6. No points were scored in the fourth. With 2 minutes left, the Packers are up 38-10 against the 49ers. I think that game's over. And with 18 seconds left, and the Raiders have the ball, it is 29-19 Broncos. So it looks like there's a real good chance, probably 90% chance, that the Broncos win. And obviously the Packers are going to win. And then we have the next game in a little less than an hour or so. All right. Let's see what other questions. All right. Well, I am going to log off for now. I think my voice is cracking, so I'm going to log off. Hope you guys have a good night and have fun watching the game tonight. Thank you very much.